What's up, guys? Moshe Karnikov with you. Today I want to talk about an extremely important subject: why one must get a firearm, whether you guys live in Israel or around the world. So, a firearm, okay, it's a weapon. Obviously, it's made to kill, but if it's in the good guy's hand, it could save lives. In Israel, many terrorist attacks were prevented, um, either before they actually occurred, or they stopped as soon as possible because we had a civilian that had a weapon. Now, no one knows when the next attack could occur. Okay, no one actually believes it could happen to him, but unfortunately the reality is that attacks occur, and many times in all kinds of environments and areas. An attack could be a terrorist attack or just be a armed robbery, anything like that. Okay, it could be a home invasion, any scenario like that. So that's why you must get a firearm. In Israel, like I said, there was many terrorist attacks that unfortunately succeeded because no one had a firearm on the scene. There was in where I live in Gush Etzion in Batayin. Unfortunately, a terrorist came into our community and managed to attack with an axe a young boy, Shlomo Nativ, Hashem Yikom Damo. He hit him in the axe in his neck. Shlomo managed to run to his house. He collapsed in the entrance of his house. In the last breath he was in his brother's hands that tried to save his life. Unfortunately, he didn't succeed. Then the terrorist came to another kid. He hit him with the axe in the head, and then he started fighting with someone. That person unfortunately did not have a gun, and the terrorist managed to run away. Another incident also in our community, like not far, like couple hundred meters away, someone was praying, and two terrorists attacked him with knives, and unfortunately murdered him. And these incidents unfortunately happen many times, and they're also in a shul in Jerusalem. A terrorist came into the shul, started shooting, started stabbing people, and there's no one to have a firearm to fight back. Where it really hit me, it shook me when I saw there was a terrorist attack in India, in Mumbai, where I don't remember if it was 2 or 3 terrorists came into a hotel, and they're just doing whatever they want for a long time, and there's no reaction. So that's why it's so important that you guys have a firearm. Now, there's many incidents that get stopped by someone that's trained, that has a firearm. Someone that I interviewed not long ago for my book. I'm writing a book about fighting, on self-defense, on really cool stuff. And this was, I think, in the 70s. He is an IDF veteran. He was a taxi driver at that time, and he was going in Tel Aviv, and suddenly he sees like 2 terrorists like taking out heavy weapons out of their car, and they wanted to attack. It was a park, like a big park and a school, and they wanted to attack, and he jumped out of his car and managed to shoot both of these terrorists and kill them before they actually did any damage. Many times that happened, thank God. And there's also times that people had a weapon, but it wasn't on them. It wasn't in the reach. It was maybe they were upstairs and the weapon was upstairs or something like that. And unfortunately, it cost us a lot of blood. There was an incident in Alon Moreh in the Shomron. It's a Jewish town in the Shomron, in Samaria, where terrorists came into the house. he murdered a couple of the family members, and then there was a special forces. One of their sons, he was a special forces operator, and his weapon was upstairs. And he was coming to he shouted to his brother that was upstairs to throw his weapon to him, and he almost got to him, and unfortunately the terrorists got to him first, and managed to kill him, unfortunately. So that's why it's not enough to get a firearm. Obviously you have to train, and obviously you have to try to keep it in your hand range as much as you can all times. Now many people, why they don't buy firearms, maybe because they're afraid of them. Firearms, like I said in the beginning, it's a weapon, it's supposed to kill, but it doesn't kill by itself. If you're professional and you're safe with your gun, there's no reason something could happen. Okay, it is an investment. Okay, you have to buy the firearm. You have to obviously train and put in money for ammunition and stuff, but it's definitely worth it. You don't want to look back and say, God forbid that you could have got a firearm, and you did not, and then you're face to face with a terrorist attack or with an attacker, and you could have had a firearm on you and you did not. Also, the incident I told you in the Shomron in Samaria, one of the guys I also interviewed him. He was also a special forces guy, very very highly trained. And that time he was like in charge of the whole security in the area. And in those days there was many terrorist attacks, and many times he would run to his vehicle and he would forget his weapon in the car, in his house, because he had to deal with all the phone calls, the radios and stuff like that. So he said, okay, he was in that day he was in that issue, and he said, I'll leave my weapon in the car, so when I run fast to the incident, I'll have it with me. And in the incident he had to run until his car. And that took time, because each time people saw someone running, they shouted, "Who is it?" And he was afraid to get shot. So it took him some time. And he told me until this day he's angry at himself that he didn't have the weapon with him. So I highly recommend, guys, buy a firearm. If you're living in Israel, like I said, if you're living around the world, and this is on let's say normal daily basis, okay? Unfortunately attacks the Krav. What happens if the real total chaos? Then things are really gonna get chaotic, and there's gonna be much more attacks, and people are gonna maybe need food more desperate, and they're gonna be willing to do some things to get their food. And that's why it's extremely important to make sure you guys have your firearm and have your good training. And if you have a firearm, make sure it's in your hand range all the time, as much as possible. Of course, active shooters that happen many times in the U.S. No response. Okay, many times, unfortunately. So that's why it's extremely important. So you guys get a firearm. Make sure you do what it takes to get a firearm if you can, if you could, in your state or wherever you live in Israel or across the world. Make sure to get a firearm. Make sure you train. At the end, it protects yourself, your family, and of course your community. At the end, it's not only for yourself, also protecting your community. So I highly recommend, guys, to get a firearm. If you guys, I would love to hear your comments on this video. Okay, welcome to leave them down below. And of course share this. Okay, share this to maybe people that are not sure, they want to get a firearm but they're afraid of it. They're not sure how important it is and things like that. So you guys are welcome to share this video with them. If you're in Israel, I could definitely help you to try to get a firearm. There's different rules in different places. Like I said, leave your comments down below. Of course, share the clip, share the video, and subscribe to the channel, because I'm going to upload really cool stuff about fighting, self-defense, home invasion scenarios, fighting, really cool stuff. So make sure you subscribe, stay tuned. I'm Moshe Kanikov with Krav Maga Fight Tips from Israel, and I'm gonna see you guys in the next clip. Have an awesome week and stay safe, and I hope you'll have a firearm and you'll never need to use it. Be'ezrat, thank God. All the best, guys.